All right, so you have your central question. Now the next part is to go to the end. So you have your standards. You know what standards you want to hit, and you have an essential question that will hook students and engage them into this unit. But what is the purpose? Where are you moving towards? What's that ultimate activity? And for the essential question, it might be, you can use a lot of the standards, those skills that you're going to assess in a culminating activity. That sounded kind of confusing, but I'll explain better. So, culminating project. Consider what you want the students to end up and then work backwards, as we mentioned in your planning. Consider step by step how you will get students to that point where they can create a culminating project with expertise. How will you move students from where they are now to where they need to be to do this kind of work? Also, I want to mention, don't worry about trying to write all of this stuff down. You will have a sheet that will guide and have this information as well. Refers to the composition, performance, project, and or artifact that requires students to implement their understanding of conceptual knowledge. Must allow students to transfer their knowledge to a new situation. Allow students to demonstrate their conceptual procedural understandings. So these are things to keep in mind. There's some thinking that culminating activities are just it can just be any project. And I know personally that I have projects that I really enjoy having my students do and create. And when I went through the Inquiry Institute and I had to, I thought, okay, well, this is the unit that I really like doing, or this is the activity that I really like to do. And then I had to list the skills. What am I really assessing? I had to be honest with myself, and I had to scrap some of those activities. And that was really hard as a teacher to say, oh, that was just really for funsies, or that was something really cool. And I've noticed teachers really struggle with that. For example, Idaho clay maps. I remember creating these in 4th grade. Now, I attended 4th grade in Middleton, and I've had the wonderful opportunity to go back and work with even some of the teachers that I had. And I went in one day and I saw these clay maps in the little cardboard boxes lined up in the hallway again. I was like, they're still making these, and then I thought, what was the purpose behind me making mine? And then I kind of tried to think about what I could remember, and I thought, well, I really didn't do a good job. I remember doing it like the weekend before or something. So clearly I missed something. So I went to the teacher and I asked her, so what are you looking for when you do this activity? And I was asking because I admit maybe I missed something in 4th grade, okay? And she said, well, the kids really enjoy this, and we share this right before parent-teacher conference, and this is something that we put out to decorate the library, this and that. And she told me they spent X amount of time on some of this. And I thought, okay, but what are you assessing? Like, what are the skills? Because I clearly had missed that in 4th grade. Okay, so I was like, okay, well, what is the purpose really? And she could not articulate that. And that's when I thought, okay, that's one of those activities. Now, if she would have said, oh, it's so that they have to identify certain land features in the state that we live in, or certain bodies of water, or something else, that's valid. Those are skills that students need to have, and I would have been fine with that, because I know that in 4th grade, when I did that the weekend before, I don't think I paid attention to that, okay? So, but the fact that she couldn't articulate that, I wondered, really, what is the purpose in this activity? When I was working with another teacher, she really was proud of this habitat unit that she did, and when we were going through each step in her planning the unit, she continued to explain to me in detail the projects that students created in these elaborate habitats, and that they brought in all these sorts of animals. It just went on and on. They said, okay, now let's list what skills are you assessing through this activity, because I was helping her list those skills and be able to name it. And she did not, she said, it's the project, and I said, so is it just visual? Is it a good one? That's clearly a bad one. That's a good one. But what about the skills? And it was really hard for us to get to that point. So I mentioned that in that it's not that case for everyone, because earlier I had a conversation with a teacher here, and what her comment was, oh, I thought of that culminating activity, that project that I have my students do, and looking at the standards, I know why. So for her, it was a pat on the back, like, see, I'm not wasting time. Hers wasn't for funsies, okay? And hers was actually purposeful, because she could identify all the skills that she was assessing students. So there's also that other side of the coin. So what is never mind. Culminating activity. I want you guys to brainstorm on your sheet. Possible culminating activity for your unit.